Today, we have with us at Pecados Veniales, Edouard Meylan, CEO of H. Moser and Company, one of the, for me, coolest independent brands in the watch sector. Welcome, Ed, for being with us. It's a pleasure. And let's talk about the brand.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure as well.
Okay. For all of those who may not know you, who is Edouard Meylan?
Well, if I go backwards, I am the owner today and CEO of H. Moser and Company, an independent watch brand based in Schaffhausen in Switzerland, owned by my family. But originally, I am born in a family of watchmakers in the Vallée de Joux. I'm an engineer. I did an MBA. I worked in the watch industry now for probably about 18 years, something like that. And yeah, I took over Moser in 2013. My father was the CEO of Audemars Piguet, so I really grew up in that world, and yeah, it's a passion.
Yeah, but you have been talking that you have been always involved in the watch sector. It's a family business. You have been talking about your father. It's just a family business. You are in the watch sector because it's a family business, or do you really love watchmaking? When did you realize that you love watches?
To be honest, yeah, today I work. My father is the chairman of the company. My brother works with me. Is running the operations in Asia and the Middle East. It's tough to say. I mean, to be honest, we always talked and about watches. You know, as a kid, that was the main topic all the time. My father showing us the watches, the development they had at AP or even JLC before. I think I really started to understand and appreciate it at a later stage. I liked it before. I mean, I remember I have souvenirs going to workshops when I was a kid and hearing like minute repeaters and stuff like that, which like resonated to me about seeing these mechanics. Did that influence me in a way that I went into micro-mechanical engineering? Or did I really appreciate watches because of better understanding of what was behind and how it worked? It's tough to say. I mean, my first job, I went into something completely different. I went into a management consulting, and then I did an MBA more in finance. In between, I started working in the watch industry, and I think that's when I started working really with the product that I realized it was a passion, because for me, that's the most important thing. I remember like trying other things where I was missing the actual playing with the mechanics, designing and developing something, having a product. I think for me, it's the fact that it's a product and it's something you can understand and appreciate. If it was purely electronic or something like this, where you don't understand what really works behind it, that wouldn't be for me. I think that's what I like about watches, and it's all this history and the fact that you have all those small parts that work together, and to some extent you can understand it.
Yeah. Something funny is that we are wearing now at the same moment the same watch. Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, the best one. But out from Moser, the watches that you are wearing, what are the brands that you use, the ones that you are wearing out from your brand?
Well, today I'm not wearing any other brand, unfortunately. But I know, unfortunately, no, because I can create the watches I like, and that's really something.
And also the ones we love.
Yes, but you know, I as I said, my father worked for AP, so I have a collection of a few APs. I think personally, the watchmaking art that I like is very Germanic. I mean, Moser is on the border of Germany, and I think. I was lucky enough to already before, you know, I was appreciating the Nomos, the Junghans, the Langensöhne, those kind of very traditional Germanic, where engineering is important, where it's very understated. I like those brands. I like the Japanese brands like Grand Seiko. I think these are inspirations to me. So I would say these are the brands that I gravitate around, definitely in terms of inspiration, but sometimes in terms of ownership. I have a few German watches. But again, I think today Moser is my baby, and that's all I'm wearing. I'm wearing a Garmin, which is something completely different, but that's when I do sport.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Let's talk about the brand. Tell us something about the origins of Moser, because it's a Swiss brand, but with Russian origins.
Well, I mean, our founder, Heinrich Moser, is Swiss. He was born here in Schaffhausen, in a family of watchmakers as well. They were taking care of the clocks. They were building watches. He studied in Switzerland, but it's true that he launched the brand originally at the age of 21 or 23 in St. Petersburg, because that's at the time where he was there to develop his art and managed to repair a watch for the Tsar, Nicolas I. And he got a lot of success. So that's when he started developing his brand. But the brand was being produced in Switzerland. But it's true, the Russian market was a big market for him, but then it became global. I mean, they produced over 500,000 watches in his lifetime. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of watches.
Yeah. But what happened with the brand from 1979 to 2005?
It's a good question. I'm still trying. I mean, we have a beautiful museum here in the castle of Heinrich Moser, and we have a lot of watches from 1828, which was the year of the birth. Even before that, from the grandfather of Heinrich Moser, from the father of Heinrich Moser, but the first Heinrich Moser watches that we have are from 1828, which was the year of the foundation of the brand. And then we have watches through the era until around 1975, 1979. Then there's a gap. We know there's been some watches produced at that time, probably in Russia, because to be honest, the brand was nationalized in Russia during the Bolshevik Revolution. So in 1917, that time my grandfather was working there. We found out recently. Mm-hmm. But then the brand was kind of divided in two, and there was the rest of the world, and then there was Russia. So I know that some watches were produced between 1975 and 2005. But in Russia, in the rest of the world, it belonged to the Dixie Group, the brand, and they didn't see much. So they didn't do much. So I don't have in our collection today, in our museum, watches from that era. But I'm still, we don't have all the archives, so we're trying to rebuild that segment. So I cannot say for sure that nothing was being produced at that time, but I just don't have any in the portfolio. Yet in 2002, it restarted under the helm of Jürgen Lange. He was previously the head of development at IWC. Then he took over or revamped or relaunched H. Moser & Company together with entrepreneurs and the Moser family. And the Moser family I'm working with them today. We continue to develop the brand together.
Mm-hmm. Then you have your brand H. Moser & Company, but it says very rare watches. Why do you use that phrase?
It actually just says very rare, not very rare watch.
Oh, okay.
It's very rare because I think there's different aspects for that. The very rare is our cornerstone in terms of communication. It's about the fact that we are a family owned and run. That's becoming very rare. There are only a few brands left that are family owned and run. It's the fact that we are a true manufacturer. We produce everything from the hairspring. I mean, you saw what we did with MBNF last year. It started with the hairsprings. We are the masters of hairspring. So here in this building, we produce hairsprings all the way to the full movement. And under one roof, that's very rare. I think we might be the only one doing everything in the movement under one roof, except people making maybe one or two watches here and there. But even their hairsprings, they don't do them themselves. So that's, again, something very rare. Then I think our philosophy in terms of product development, it's very function driven. We are very minimalistic. We remove everything that is unnecessary. We love to go to the essence of any function. And I think today, when the watch industry is trying to make things look as complex as possible, we go the other way around. And that's, again, very rare. And last but not least, I think it's also the way we communicate. We like to be sometimes provocative. We like to see ourselves a little bit as activists, not afraid to challenge a little bit the establishment, to go after certain codes and rules of our traditional industry. And again, I think that's quite rare. Mm-hmm. And all of that makes Moser very rare.
Yeah, for sure. It makes you different from the rest.
Yeah, it's a must. I think as an independent brand, if you want to grow and evolve and survive, you need to be different from the rest.
What do you think is the good things of being independent? Because nowadays, I think that there is a lack of creativity in the big groups. Then I'm always saying, when we have other interviews and we have directs in Instagram and so on, we talk about the independence, like you are much more closer to the market, closer to the aficionados, watch lovers. You are very different from the big groups.
Yeah, I think what's important, what makes independent stand apart, I think, is our proximity to the customers. There's this human dimension, this connection, human beings behind the brand that you can talk to, who take the responsibility if there's a problem with your watch. But I think also it gives us a lot of freedom in terms of creativity, but not only in the product side, but also, as we said before, in the communication side. I think we're ready to take risks. We like to be different. We react fast. I think COVID-19 showed how agile independent brands were, and I think we went through this very difficult last 18 months very, very smoothly. Actually, a lot of independent brands like ours continue to grow in 2020. And I think that's because we are agile, reactive, taking risks, taking a lot of initiatives. We are true entrepreneurs, and I think that stands us apart from those big groups who have a lot of bureaucracy and decision process are very long. For us, I mean, last year on 16th of March, all the stores were closed. 95% of the stores were closed. In 2 weeks, we implemented an e-commerce, and 2 days later, we sold our first Tourbillon online. And I think no established brands would have been able to do that.
Mm-hmm. We have been talking about the big groups. Have you ever been asked by a big group to buy a stake in Moser?
There's been in many cases people interested in Moser, but yeah, it's not our objective. We are family, as I said, of watchmakers, and it was always also the dream of my father to be independent. So we'd like. I mean, as long as we can, we'd love to be. We want to remain independent, and I think the chance that we have is that we're now very profitable. We turned around this brand, and today we have the means to grow, to invest. We're opening boutiques. We have projects looking 5 years ahead. So I think we're a very different situation than we were 8 years ago when we took over Moser. At that time, we had to think, how long can we go with this brand losing money? Mm-hmm. But thanks God, we did, I think, quite a good job to change that dynamic and make it profitable, so we don't have to think like that. Mm-hmm. But we want to grow this brand. We want to continue, and I think, for me, it's we're hiring quite a lot of people. I want to make it a very established brand and protect this brand by being big enough to go through crisis and everything for the next generations as well.
Okay, good news. For our followers and viewers, can you tell us a little bit about your collections?
Sure. So today, I mean, I'm not going to talk about the past. There's a few things we're stopping. The Swiss Alp watch, for example, is something we're stopping. The Venture. So today we have 4 pillars. We have the Endeavor, we have the Pioneer, we have the Heritage, and we have the Streamliner. The Endeavor is what we call the classic with a twist. It's our most, I would say, traditional classic, elegant watch, but always with something sexy and funky. We like to play with 2 worlds on any of our collections. So the Endeavor is really this classic with a twist. Then we have the Pioneer, which is, I would say, the entry door to independent watchmaking. I think in euro at around below 13,000 Swiss euros, you have a beautiful manufacture movement, beautiful fumé dial from Moser, 120 meter water resistance, very versatile product. So it's a bit kind of a sport everyday watch. And that's something that works very well for Moser. Then we have the Heritage, which is inspired from our antique watches. So it's converted pocket watches type of things you would see in our museum. Some pilot watches from Moser that we modernized in the sense that we use the codes of Moser. So the fumé dials, the 3-dimensional cases, the global light, so very modern elements on the numerals. So it's an antique watch, but again, with a very sexy design, and that works also very well. And then the last but not least is the Streamliner. That's the watch we are wearing here as a chronograph. This is our integrated steel bracelet, so the Sport Chic watch as well. And that's something we launched last year after quite a lot of time on designing something that would be unique and different. And I think we achieved that. And that's the 4th pillar of Moser. So I think we have very complementary collections that really express what is Moser, and shows that we're not a 21st century brand. We're actually 193 years old.
Maybe the Streamliner is the something different from the rest of your collection. Why have you chosen this name, and is this model a real challenge for the brand?
It's a lot of questions. So it's been a lot of work. to design it and then to find a name. I mean, I like to work as a team. So we had so many iterations to find a name that would really fit this design. And I think it's really when you look at it and you touch it, and the name came, I think was last. The design was completely finished and everything when we named it. It's because I think if you look at it and you touch it and you get this feeling, it really, for me, reminiscent of those old trains and cars that you had in the mid 1920s, 1930s in the US, called the streamliners. And I think in a way everything has been streamlined. It's very flowing in terms of design, almost organic. And I think that's why the name is. I think I think it was the best decision that we had, and we had a lot of different names, and this one is the one that remained. And I'm so glad we picked that one. It's very different from what we've done in the past, but at the same time, it is following the same design rules that we have in terms of movement, but also in terms of case and dies, etc. I mean, it's minimalistic. The shapes on the side. If you look at the bracelet, it's this monolink bracelet. Moser is all about simplifying and being, as functional as possible. And here you have a bracelet, and you probably can see that even for a small wrist like mine, it fits with a 42 millimeter, which is the big size that we have on the chrono. It fits very well, and that's something we want to achieve. It's a fully integrated bracelet. So it's been a challenge, but we wanted something very different that would also open to a new clientele that maybe didn't know Moser, and was really maybe not attracted to our more classic lines. But what's interesting today is a lot of people who discovered Moser through the Streamliner are also buying the Heritage, the Pioneer, and the Endeavor. So yeah, I think it was a huge success for us to make people better discover and understand our brand.
After 6 months with my watch, what I have to recognize is the softness of the bracelet, the shape of the case, then the amazing movement that you have, the oscillating mass between the dial and the back of the case to see the movement, and also the dials, the color of the dial, because the gray one, it was very nice, but this blue one is, in my opinion, much better.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bracelet. I mean, a watch is all the details, right? So they have to fit. I mean, for me, the cushion shape is something that is very tactile. I love to. I mean, this is the part you use to feel a watch, because it's the most, I would say, the reactive element of your hand, that to really feel and understand a design. And I think when you touch this bracelet, it's almost like a reptile, and it fits together in a way. I mean, it's homogeneous, and that's why I think this watch has the potential to become, in 20, 30, 40 years time, maybe an iconic product. For us, it's definitely something that has a huge demand at the moment, and I think it's just the beginning.
Okay. At your back, you have two of the prizes that you have won at the Grand Prix de Relojería de Genève.
Yes.
What did it mean for you to have those two prizes, the best chronograph and the Audacity last year?
Well, it's a recognition from our peers in a way. And to be honest, we don't create watches to win awards. That's something that I always tell my team, because for the last 14 years, we tried, and they said, why? I mean, we're doing well. I mean, the brand is growing very fast. We never win. At the end of the day, it's not because you make the watches win those awards that actually you're being successful, and you have to be very careful. But at the end of the day, it's still something that those awards that kind of is very gratifying. And I think in the middle of the pandemic, with a team that worked very hard for many years in helping this brand recover and turn around, to have those kind of awards is very, very gratifying for myself, for my father, for my brother, but I think even more for the team here. Everybody was so excited when we won this, because it shows that not only us and a few clients, we make 1,500 watches a year. Not only them appreciate what we do, the industry understand and like what we do. And I think that's, in a way, that's important to us.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the novelties that you have presented this year at Watches and Wonders.
So we had, I need to remember, we launched actually quite a few novelties, not everything, but quite a few. We started with I would say a teaser, or again, a watch that is a little bit offbeat or provocative. That was the art piece we did with Seconde Seconde, which is a French artist, around the topic about branding and marketing. And we created that 20 pieces limited edition that we exclusively sold on our e-commerce, which was a the concept watch, so no index, no logo, with where we replaced one hand with a pixelated eraser. That's the design from this artist from France. I invite you to go and discover his website, Second, or on Instagram. He modifies vintage watches in general, and I asked him to revamp one of our products. And what he took about the essence of Moser was about this idea of going minimalistic and designing, trying to find the golden number on everything we do. And I think that was a good representation of that. Then what we launched was the Tiger's Eyes collection, which is an Endeavor tourbillon. Here, for me, we're known for our fumé dials, and you seem to appreciate them as much as I do, but I think we need to go further. We introduced the Vanta Black a few years ago, then we did the Aventurine. I think those very minimalistic dials allow us to play with those materials. But I always thought I want a nice natural stone that would be the equivalent of our fumé dials. And I think the Tiger's Eye, which is very dynamic when you play with the light, like the Falcon Eye or the Ox Eye, depending on the color you choose, is for me the equivalent of a Moser fumé dial. And I found it very interesting to explore a new world with natural stone in that particular collection. And we started, therefore, with the Endeavor Ox Eye and Falcon Eye tourbillon, both limited to 50 pieces. And it's an automatic flying tourbillon double hairspring from Moser in gold, 40 millimeter. And then last but not least, we did two pieces called the Mega Cool. And there it was something we wanted, a post-lockdown kind of watch. You want to go to the beach in Spain and wear shorts and t-shirts, and you want this cool watch. And the code name for that watch was the Mega Cool. I would say the most summery, holiday-like dials that we have is the Blue Lagoon. It's a kind of a blue turquoise type of dials, and it comes in a 120-meter water-resistant steel case, either in tourbillon, limited to 50, or center second, with a beautiful, different strap. You can have a bracelet, you can have a croco, you can have a rubber, you can have a textile. And one very interesting detail is that we have a transparent logo, because again, Moser is about, the brand becomes, I would say, secondary. It's behind the creation, behind the art piece. If the watch cannot be recognized from a few meters away or through the camera, then it's not a Moser. I want all the features to be there. So the signature is very subtle there, in transparent. And we also have ceramic hands on it. So amazing launches at Watches and Wonders, very successful.
Don't you think that there is now a fashion of having that kind of fumé dials with colors? You were almost the first. I think that you were the first one. Don't you think that?
Well, we were not the first one to create fumé dials, even in color, the 60s or before that. But it got lost.
Recently, in the last 5 years.
Yes, so we relaunched that, and I think we mastered the technique. Unfortunately, we don't do all those dials internally. We're working now on integrating that more and more. But we worked with suppliers, and suppliers work not exclusively with Moser. So many big brands came and said, "I want the Moser dial." So today you see more and more brands trying to copy our dials, and some famous ones. But again, I think because we went quite strong and kind of trying, I know there was this risk because I couldn't protect it. So I wanted, through also the concept watches, which are just a fumé dial and hands and no indexes, nothing, in a way it helped us to own it. And today a lot of people refer to those fumé dials as being the Moser dials. And I think that's the best way for us to protect it, is by just owning it, doing the most beautiful ones, exploring new colors. You see recently we stopped the Cosmic Green fumé dial, and 2 weeks later AP launches a Royal Oak Cosmic Green fumé dial. Yeah. So I think we are 2 or 3 years ahead. They're probably going to launch the Blue Lagoon fumé in a few years from now, and by then we'll have a new color or something. So it's important. It challenges us. Again, we always say, copy is not a bad thing. It means that some way you're creating a trend or you're being successful. So
you are going in the right way.
Exactly. a lot of big brands, they say, we know exactly what our customers want. We do consumer research. We do a lot of research. We don't do that. In the opposite, I want to surprise customers. I want to be ahead. I want to create something that you don't know you want to have. And it's difficult. You need to try things. You need to fail. But that's why there is independent watchmaking. It's kind of the haute couture, I leave it to the others to do the prêt-à-porter, things that are very commercial, etc., following the trends. We try to create those trends. It's very pretentious what I'm saying here, But in a way, that forces us to constantly think and try to be a step ahead from other brands, but also from our customers and fans.
Ed, I know it a little bit, but are you going to surprise us even more with novelties?
Always. I mean, for us, it's we're constantly innovating and bringing new things. So we're working with tons of projects. As I said, now because of where we are with Moser, we can plan much further ahead. So we are working on crazy things for 5 years from now. But still, this year we're going to have 2 new movements that we will be launching, and in 2 collections where we haven't launched novelties yet. So I let you figure it out. But some very cool things. One will be launched probably during Geneva Watch Days, which will be end of August, and another one towards the end of the year. And we have a few other crazy things that we're working on, but will be in 2022.
Okay. You have said that it's very important, the communication. I think that there is a lack of communication between the classic brands and the young generations. You have been surprising the market with the cheese watch, the Swiss Alp watch, that kind of mixture of different watches that you were about to present some years ago. Don't you think that the brands are failing into getting into the new generations? Because you are young, I'm quite old. Then you have to bring, even that your watches can be considered expensive. It's something that when I was a kid, I was in love with watches from the beginning. You have to bring that new generation that now are thinking only about traveling or smart watches. Well, smartphones, sorry. Yeah.
I think this new generation is open to everything. They want to discover, but they want things that talk to themselves. And I think brand loyalty is becoming very different to that new generation. But they want opinion. They want people. They want things that talks to them. They don't want to buy the watch from their father and grandfather. So I think, in a way, they want authenticity. They want experience. They want human connection. And I think that's where independent brands are very good at it. And I think pricing is one thing, but I think that there's a lot of money out there also for the younger generation. I think we've seen recently also with the crypto money and all those things, there's been crazy amount of money. It's crazy. It's insane. I feel like people sometimes are losing, I would say, the understanding of what is money. I mean, I mean, maybe these days with the Bitcoin going down like this, that might change very quickly. But in the last few months, years, I mean, it's crazy when you see people investing in crypto art and stuff like that, like crazy. And these are new generation people who used to collect sneakers and basketball or baseball cards in the US. Today they want something else, and I think watches
or even helmets
or helmets. But I think that's any generation, and yes, they want experience, they want to travel, but it doesn't mean they don't want to wear a beautiful watch that talks to them on the wrist.
Yeah. We interviewed 2 weeks ago Max Booster. What did it mean to you to collaborate with Max? Because he told us that it has been something very personal. It was not just groups of marketing people working together to find something very commercial. It's just a relation of people, no?
Yeah, I think Max for me was definitely somebody I looked up to when I started working in independent watchmaking. And my first venture was I worked in the mobile phone business, and it was a failure. But at the same time, looking at what others were doing, you learn a lot. And I think Max definitely opened the way for many of us. It was not the only one. I mean, Richard Mille has done amazingly well. You were talking about Haute-Lance, which is another brand we own. They were also very early, 2004. They started. I think all those guys, when I was 25, 30 years old, I was looking up to, and Max was definitely somebody who is somebody who is ahead of many of independent brands. So being able to collaborate with him, knowing that we are very different in terms of brand and in terms of personality. Max is a perfectionist, is a crazy creative mind. I think while I think I'm creative and also an entrepreneur, I think I'm a very pragmatic person. So it's very interesting to mix that. And we've been collaborating for years now through the hairsprings. because we supply most of the independent brands with hairsprings, which is one of our specialty. And I think Max says always, like, I have a life insurance on you, because we need you guys, otherwise we don't get hairsprings. So to be able to show that, to feature it with some crazy products and saying we're doing it once, it goes in both directions. It shows to the industry that people can work together. We're not fighting each other. We need to work as an industry. So there's a strong message behind it, and really creating art pieces and then throwing them out there at the worst time in the watch industry, at the middle of a pandemic, and then seeing smiles on the face of people around the world and people saying, wow, this is the best thing that ever happened, was just an amazing experience. And I think both Max and I and our teams look back at this and said that was more than just it was not commercial. It was in a way like a life experience. And I'm glad it inspired others, and many more are doing this. And we're discussing with many people now on collaborations, and yeah, it's cool. It's that's what our industry is all about. It's been about people working together, but in many cases, a lot of people don't want to talk about it. They want to hide that and prefer to say we do everything ourselves, which is not true. It's all about working together with master watchmakers, with case suppliers who are the masters in their field. And Max has been at the essence in saying it's not Max, it's Max and friends. Yeah. And without those friends, there wouldn't be Max. Yeah. And I think there wouldn't be MBNF. Of course, there would be Max. But I think he's been very transparent about that, and he's the master of collaborations. And to be able to collaborate with him, not anymore just as a person, because we were already part of the friends through our structure of hairsprings, but as a brand is key in this project.
You have been talking. Also, we have been talking about another brand that it belongs to your group, is Oddlands. Yes. Do you collaborate? Do you have? You share any kind of research and development?
Today, yes. I mean, for about 12 months now, I've fully integrated it into. I took over Oddlands and fully integrated it here in Schaffhausen. So now we have the teams are working on both brands. Probably 90% Moser and 10% Oddlands, but we are working on a lot of things that we will be launching probably this year, if not next year. You can expect, I would say, a Oddlands 2.0, which is inspired from the older Oddlands, but with a twist.
Okay. In the last year, you have changed completely Moser, the brand, the image. How do you want it to evolve in the coming years? How do you see the brand?
It's tough to say. To be honest, I think a brand is something that constantly evolves. And 8 years ago, when I took over Moser, I had no idea what I would do with it. I knew I wanted to make it a little bit more modern, but I didn't know how, I didn't know what. So it's tough to say. I think today we know much better what is Moser today, but I cannot tell you what will be Moser tomorrow. So it's always interesting when I get feedback and people tell me, this is not Moser. Because in a way, I'd like to know, I think it's what keeps us on our toes is to take nothing as granted and say, everything we're doing today, we might not do it tomorrow. But it has to be part of a process. And today, I think continue to master our art is important, continue to develop our movement with the same philosophy about going to the essence and revisiting all the functions, like the perpetual calendar, like the chrono, like the tourbillon, like the minute repeater. But there are many others out there. And to continue with that same kind of approach, philosophy is important, but it might change. The dials, the fumé is the thing for us today. We introduced the Vanta Black. Now we're doing stone dials. I cannot tell you 5 years ago, 5% of our production were fumé dials. Today, it's 95%. What is it going to be in 10 years? I have no idea. If we continue to establish this brand, it might continue to be our signature, but it might not be. So we will continue definitely to explore, try new things, be innovative, creative, and sometimes fail, because that's why we are independent. It's because we need to continue to try.
We have been talking before about that an independent watch like yours, you are closer to the client, to the customer. Who are your clients? Do you know them? What is the type of the Moser client?
I don't know. I don't know all of them, but we know many. As I said, we produce 1,500 watches, and we're very close, I think, with my team to a lot of our customers. I think many of our customers, one thing they have in common is a very entrepreneurial spirit, or self-confident. again, you're buying a Moser, sometimes a watch that has no logo, no indexes, and don't forget that you're spending a few thousand dollars on a watch that you need to show your friends, and they will say, I mean, what is that? I mean,
what are you wearing?
Have a logo, which I don't know the brand. So you need to be able to explain it in full confidence. Say, no, hey, this is something special. This is Moser. So
but I think, sorry, it's the good thing.
It is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think our customers have this entrepreneurial spirit. They understand the intrinsic value. They buy it for themselves. This is really knowledgeable people about watches, and frankly, they don't care about what other people think. And that's what I like about Moser owners. It's like they're not followers. They are kind of people who set the pace, and a lot of opinion leaders. And we're not creating watches for everybody, but we don't want to be. I mean, there's Rolex out there. There's those big brands. If you want the watch for everybody, I mean, we're trying to do something that stands out. Again, we have to be different, and that's the way we find our market, our segment.
And what are the most important markets for Moser?
Today, I mean, last year, the US has grown a lot, but historically, it's been Switzerland, a very big market, France, Germany, UK is quite big. The Middle East has grown also in the recent years, and Asia, Hong Kong especially has been and Singapore, which has very knowledgeable market about the movements, the craftsmanship, have worked very well for us. So it's quite well diversified.
Mm-hmm. And what about Spain? Is an important market for you now? You are with Rabat family. Do you consider Spain as an interesting market for you?
I think Spain is an important market for two reasons. I think there's a lot of very knowledgeable collectors. I think the Rabat family has been with us for many years now, and they understand independent watchmaking. They work with amazing brands like Journe, like us, and I think they contribute to educating the market. I think Spain is also, in a way, an entry door to South America, and I think that's also important to us to continue to explore new markets and develop and get inspired by different regions. So I think it's a very important market to us, yes. Mm-hmm. And I hope we can continue to grow there.
Sure, we love to have your watches here. It's amazing to sometimes when I go to visit Rabat, it's always a pleasure to see your watches there.
Yeah, at the moment we are a bit short. I mean, we're trying to increase our capacity because the demand is crazy, but we're working on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Ed, thank you so much for being with us at Pecados Veniales. It has been a real pleasure to have you with us to share your ideas, your view of the sector, the brand. Congratulations for what you are doing, and you have us here whenever you want. It will be a pleasure if you come to Spain to see you.
I hope so. I hope soon. I mean, it's been a while, so I definitely want to come and see you in Madrid, and then also go to Barcelona. And we love Spain. So hopefully, after all this, all vaccinated, we can finally go back and meet you in person.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Take care. Thank you.